merry and playful, which of course is very important. There we go. Yes. So, when it refers here to Joshu attaining his kensho, his realization, this is sometimes described as a moment's thought seen through eternal time. And this next part is a little explanation. Now, we've gone through this before with the Heart Sutra, when we talk about the very first thing that happens is contact, and then there's formation and consciousness and feelings like we have all laid out in the Heart Sutra. So it's telling us how things work, how perception comes into the mind here. This one, there's so many different explanations in Zen, it's wonderful. You can come at it from all kinds of different angles. Many limitless Dharma gates, as it says in here. And here's an explanation of the same thing in 3 parts only. So this is another way to try to work with what happens with the mind. I thought of reading this before Zazen, but I thought you might get too busy working on it. But this I think is a really wonderful explanation of the freedom that we're hinting at in the first koan. The first nen, so they're called the 3 nens. The first nen looks on outward things. The second nen reflects upon the immediately preceding first nen. And the third nen reflects upon the preceding first nen and second nen and synthesizes them into one thought. And there, self-consciousness appears. Now, Britti was at the group on Tuesday where we looked at this very thing of leaving it, we used different words, but leaving thought at the first nen. Just leaving it at contact. No nen thought reflects upon itself. Subjectivity cannot objectify itself. When objectified by the reflecting action, it's already turned into an object. Therefore, every action of consciousness is unconscious of itself. Illogical as it may sound, consciousness works unconsciously. The first nen is the first ego, which looks outward on things. So that's the very, very first. Imagine when we're sitting in our zazen, the very first thing is, here's something from the outside. The second nen is the second ego, which reflects on the action of the very first one. So that's how we make a thought. We see something, and at first, in the very first, what they're calling the first nen, is just. The second, because we reflect on the first, makes it into a zafu. But the very first contact is simply, that's why you'll often see monks answering the master's question with something like that, or a shout, because the first nen, or the first contact, is just contact. It's only upon reflection that we say, ah, zafu. So, the third nen is the third ego, which reflects on the first 2. None of these 3 nens recognizes itself. So to ask which is the fundamental one makes no sense at all. Each appears in succession to the others. Each is unique. Any nen that's not reflected upon is not remembered and passes into oblivion. The third nen synthesizes all the preceding ones into one self, but that one self has already lost its originality. It's not direct, it's artificial, or remembered, it's delusion. It must be stressed there is no constant nen, only moment after moment arising in succession. So, this is for me a very wonderful explanation of what happens in our perception and how we can leave it alone, which is the point of our zazen, to leave it alone at. If we leave it alone here, this is the authentic, original self arising without any reflection. And for those of you who've been at a Shuso ceremony, this is what a Shuso ceremony involves. Someone who's seen to be at the point of being a head monk because they're beginning to be able to come from this place of non-reflection and non-objectivity. And this is called the authentic self. So every time that we sit zazen, we can practice leaving our perception at before it even becomes a perception. And this is what's called the way of liberation. So thank you very much for listening today. And I have an announcement. If you look at the wall up there, there is schedule for our new offering. Once a month we're offering a half-day sit on a Wednesday, and it goes from 9 till just after 11, and then there's lunch at either Glide or St Anthony's, and then come back again for another couple of periods, and then the Heart Sutra. And Keith Walker, the temple keeper before me, is very kindly offering this, and everybody's welcome. No cost, of course, as always. So that's, we're beginning February, I think it's February 11th, the 2nd, and then it'll be regularly that time, and that day of the month. And then also what's evolved, which is quite nice, every second Monday our somatic experiencing trainer Cynthia is here. We've begun doing training in the Zendo for the harm reduction meditation, and then using the coffee hour afterwards for discussion of the harm reduction meditation and picking Cynthia's brains too on the somatic experiencing. So anyone who's interested in that, of course, everybody's welcome to that too. So the next one of those will be this coming Monday. So there's quite a lot of activity and nice stuff.
So this Monday night is our
monthly
Round Table
yes.
At 5:30, which is just our monthly potluck, and usually some theme or conversation. And this Monday is going to be sharing about our trip to Nicaragua.
Oh, and the one other, I was busy trying right before Zazen, I was trying to download the flyers that you sent me so I could pass them out. But
the eyeglasses?
Yeah, I'll just mention it for anybody that lives in the Tenderloin. There's free eye exams and eyeglasses coming up, so I will download those. Yeah, I'll have them available maybe on Monday, the flyers. That's what I was trying to do in the office before. Couldn't make it happen, so sorry. So thank you all very much. Oh, it's just Carmen's got the same thing. We're sharing it.
Just lingers.
We're just sharing it around the room. I will bring in a copy of this one. I'm not going to leave this one in the altar like I usually do because of the notes in it, but I'll bring in a copy if anyone wants to read that.